Got a lot of feedback on Super Bowl 58, 25-22. The Chiefs beat the 49ers in overtime. Hell of a game. Great way to celebrate the end of the football season. Just an incredible game to finish it off with.
Have you allowed yourself to mourn the end of football yet?
Yeah. I don't. Super Bowl parties aren't parties; they're wakes. You celebrate the life that was the football season, the joy that it gave you, the sadness that you went through, the turbulent times that you had during it. So it was great.
You know, as I'm watching some of the replays of Patrick Mahomes running the ball during the game, I want to tip my cap to Patrick Mahomes, not just for his performance, but for not being a whiny bee.
He was not.
He was not. All game long, it was something that I noticed. I was like, there was one play where my father-in-law thought he was looking for a flag, but it was where he completed the pass and he's looking up at the Jumbotron on the other side because he can't see the play. Because, normally you get to look up at the ref like, come on, throw the flag after he got hit kind of a deal. But it was very clear he was staring at the screen because he couldn't see what was happening behind him. But every time he ran, he made a conscious effort to either lower his shoulder and take a hit, get out of bounds, or slide early. And never once did he do the, oh, but I got hit stuff. So kudos to him.
That game was, I don't see how anybody came off as unlikable in that game. Even, we'll get to this hour, the Travis Kelce thing is absolutely absurd.
Absolutely. People
pearl clutching about that.
It's like, it blows my mind. Yeah. It happens every game.
We have a bunch of texts coming in on the Vancouver Ford text line. I wanted to get some of those, read those. This one, Pimo and B-Rod saying about the decision to go ahead and get the ball first instead of taking it second. Take the ball. Mahomes was on fire going into overtime. Kyle made the right call. Niners defense had already been on the field a lot. It was the right call. RJ said San Francisco's defense had been on the field battling their asses off to even get to OT. Got to give them a breather before making them immediately try to stop Mahomes again. Here's the thing that, again, if you want to say, I don't think Shanahan taking the ball first, I don't have a problem with it.
No, I don't think there's a wrong call there.
Taking it third, I don't have a problem with. But the idea that their defense had been on the field for such a long time, do you know how long Kansas City's drive was? It was a minute and 50 seconds. Right? So they went field goal by the Niners offense after a 3-minute, 53-second drive. So it wasn't like you went 3 and out into that 2-minute drive. You had a 7-play, 3-minute and 53-second drive. Then you go 11 plays, a minute 50, and that is a lot of plays. But you also have to understand that in there, you had 2 timeouts taken in that 1-minute and 50-second drive. A television timeout after you scored the field goal, after Kansas City scores a field goal. And then remember, the kickoff happened. You have Brock Purdy come out, take a knee. Then you go through all of the overtime. You bring out the captains. You do the coin toss. It wasn't like it was a lot. It's a 2.
It wasn't a 5-minute and 30-second drive.
I think and for the Super Bowl, I think there are 3-minute breaks too. Because the commercial breaks are long. So it was anywhere between 2 and 3-minute breaks.
Maybe mentally it's a good thing for the offense to go out first because the defense just gave up the score that allowed it to go to overtime.
Yeah. But the protecting the defense and being out there for so long, there's 2 timeouts in a 1-minute and 50-second drive.
Not only that, particularly, you look at the evenness of this game. I'm going to go a little number heavy here real quick. Both had first downs. It was 23-24. Okay. Total plays 71-79. Total drives 13 apiece. Like you just gonna go down the list. They basically ran the ball the same. They threw the ball the same. They both each had 2 turnovers. Total time of possession 38-31 to 36-26. This game all the way down was about as even as it goes.
It was awesome.
It was about timing of turnovers and where turnovers took place that ultimately were probably the things that were the most impactful in this game.
And dudes just making plays when it mattered the most. And I think that is where you look at if San Francisco and you looked at what Steve Spagnuolo's game plan is. We talked about this last week, like who do you take away first? And for me, it was if you're looking at San Francisco from Steve Spagnuolo, you know Christian McCaffrey is going to get fed the ball. And he did. 22 carries and 8 catches.
He was productive as hell.
He had 30 touches on the day. for me, it was Spags. You've got to take away Deebo Samuel. And Deebo Samuel was rendered mostly ineffective and a non-factor in the game.
I mean, he none of that. He was, even the opportunities he did have to make plays, I thought he was disappointing. I mean, you look at McCaffrey, you said 30 touches. He had 160 total yards and a touchdown and a very uncharacteristic fumble.
And Deebo had they got him the ball on a screen. He had three runs. He ran the ball 3 times.
Which is funny. They got him yards, on a screen. But he had the 1 for 9. Then he had two negative yard screens because the Chiefs came up and blew him up in the backfield.
He is where defenses get broke because he takes eyes, and if you get those eyes in the backfield and looking at all the window dressings, that's where Christian McCaffrey gets free, George Kittle gets free. And it really is, like, you look at the last play of the game, it's exactly what got San Francisco lost and beat, because they brought Mecole Hardman in on that motion in overtime, and they bring him down to a condensed bunch formation on the right side of the offensive line. And what ended up happening? You had Logan Ryan, who was outside leverage of Travis Kelce. Mm-hmm. He had to jump inside because then the corner is now outside leverage guy. And so when you bring that motion in, and they called the play, everybody's calling the play corn dog. It's not. It's called Tom and Jerry because it's a cat and mouse game. Mm-hmm. Because
see which one.
What Andy Reid wants to do is he wants to bring Mecole Hardman in, and if you get that jump inside, then Travis Kelce's release then goes vertically instead of an outside release to the outside, because he then gets in the way of Logan Ryan, creates a natural rub, and by going vertical, he picks up the corner. So you get that cat and mouse of, all right, Logan Ryan is either going to run with Travis Kelce on inside leverage, or he's going to release him to the corner. And right when he released Kelce to the corner, you saw Kelce was celebrating mid-play.
He knew just how open it was going to be.
Because he knew that if Logan Ryan is the flat defender and he's got that shallow on the outside of the field,
he can't make it.
Then Mecole Hardman has got a step on him because he created that rub. It was a touchdown no matter what. The best way that they could have played it is if you're chasing with Logan Ryan, you bring the corner up, but then you're giving up a corner to the back pylon, Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce. You're not going to give that up. You're going to say, we're going to roll the dice with Mecole Hardman instead.
Now,
it was a beautiful play, but it was big-time players making those plays in crunch time, which made the game.
Yeah, and I think that's ultimately what this game came down to. And I don't want to say that Brock Purdy blew the game, because I don't think that's the case. But they're in a game like this that is so tightly contested, where it's so even, and we just kind of went down through the numbers. You only get 2 or 3 chances to make the big play, the break your back, punch you in the face play. And the Chiefs, they made theirs to win the game. That's, that's when it was. The Niners had 3 different opportunities, and Purdy missed 2, and Ayuk apparently in the post game said that he ran the wrong route on a 3rd. And you look at those, and it's like, I felt like the entire game, the 49ers were the better team, playing better, except in the last execution phase. And I think that ultimately that ended up being the difference in the game.
And most of it, I don't think you can solely put on Purdy, right? So like the last,
that's what I say. I don't want it to seem like I'm blaming Purdy.
But it was that group effort, because Purdy missed Deebo Samuel up the seam. Mm-hmm. There was the miscommunication where Brandon Ayuk, it was an overthrow, and Purdy put it in the end zone where nobody was around the ball. Ayuk flattened his route out, where if he takes it skinnier and holds it high, it's probably a touchdown throw, an easy one. But then you had like that 3rd down in overtime where Chris Jones just absolutely comes untouched through the middle of the offensive line.
What you don't ever want to see happen is that man coming untouched.
As the same time as L'Jarius Sneed falls down and Brandon Ayuk is by himself in the end zone. Definitely don't want that to happen. Ooh. But you look at, it's not just the right guard not blocking the right person. Because if you look at the way that Steve Spagnuolo set that play up, they had 3 over 3 over the center, the left tackle, and the left guard. And they said...
Was it McDuffie that they brought down in the box?
They had to bring out... You had to loop your center around to the outside, which means that your right guard had to block down. or the other guy's coming. So it was an overload, and they had to slide the protection. They just didn't get any sort of chip on the outside from McCaffrey because he was supposed to be releasing out. It was that,
Again,
and that is it. That's
much like the offense when you're talking about the decision that had to be made.
Yeah.
They put that 49ers team in a position to make a decision, and they targeted a guy on defense in Logan Ryan who was older and lacked experience in time with the team. And the same thing on the other side, where their right guard goes out and they target the guy who's stepping in.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it is. Woo. It's fun. It was a lot of fun.